We're in the middle of August 2022. The real estate market is still going strong. Prices are going up. Yes, we've definitely seen a slowdown and we've definitely seen less in transactions, but it has not crashed like what the media is trying to portray. And today, we're gonna be doing a little something different. And what we're gonna be showing you is the macro level of real estate market throughout nationwide versus the micro level, which is strictly here in Hampton Roads, which is more relevant to you. So stay tuned because today's gonna be a good one. What's going on, guys? Tane the Digital Realtor here, aka The Handler, aka your favorite Hampton Roads Realtor with the Digital Realtor team of eXp Realty. And today, we're gonna be going over July 2022 real estate market update. And today we're gonna do something a little different. We're gonna be showing the nationwide data in comparison to the micro data here in Hampton Roads so you guys can get a really good grasp of what to expect in the future and what is not going on realistically with what the news trying to, what the media is trying to portray. But before we start, if you find this information valuable and you like this content, you want me to keep putting it out, please hit the thumbs up button and feel free to drop a comment down below as well if you have any input or maybe you want if you want any questions possibly answered. And feel free to share it as well, because I do this for completely free, and this lets YouTube know that I'm doing a good job and I'm providing value out there to the homeowners and buyers out there that could use this information. But anyways, let's dive into this. All right, so today we're going to be covering a good amount of data, and before we dive into this, I think it makes perfect sense for everybody to get on the same page in regards to certain terms, so this way we can all understand this fully, right? So first things first, as most of you have probably seen on news outlets and maybe even social media platforms like YouTube or whatnot, all you're seeing nonstop is real estate market crashing, real estate market crashing, real estate market crashing. And why is that, right? And to answer that question, there's what's called a negative bias that is essentially we as human beings are more drawn to negativity than positivity. And there's science behind it, and it has a lot to do with if it's anything negative, you want to make sure that doesn't happen to you, so you tune in a little more, right? So the news, they take full advantage of that, and the same thing with other people out there that's trying to capture your attention. I mean, this is a perfect example. I'm making a video right now to help out homeowners and buyers out there that are reaching out and questioning what's going on with the real estate market, all right? And it's capturing your attention. But us experts, us agents, experts, the people that are really in this every day, we don't work off of the emotions. I don't, at least, work off of the data and what's presented in front of me, which we're going to go over. So I think it's important that we understand that part because we got a ton of homeowners right now unsure of what to do in regards to the living situation. Buyers out there unsure if they should buy or wait, right? And I hope everything clears this up. But yeah, that's first things first, negative bias. It's real. And that's what the news and other people that's trying to capture your attention uses to essentially get your attention. All right. So now, what is a real estate market crash? So a real estate market crash is when we see a significant drop in home values. All right. And are we seeing that as of right now? No, we're not. And I'll go over the macro data and as well the micro data here shortly, but we're definitely not seeing that, right? When the last crash happened, we saw prices significantly drop, 8+%, all right? And you've seen some go even extremely high, depending on, how high they bought, essentially. But at that time, there was a lot of different matters going on as well. People were able to get loans, even though they shouldn't have been approved, right? A ton of inventory came on the market as well. In which we're going to go all over. It's going to be all in data, no emotions at all. Right. So that's what a real estate market crash is. And now that we're on the same page in regards to what a real estate market crash is, right? What is a recession, essentially, right? And as of right now, we are in a recession, whether people want to accept that or not. The definition of a recession is this right here: period of temporary economic decline, pretty much 2 consecutive quarters. So we've seen GDP drop 2 consecutive quarters, nothing too crazy, but technically we are in a recession. All right. Some people say we're not because of the employment rate, we're not, but this is by definition. And it's important that I bring this up as well, because when people hear this word recession, it automatically makes people assume that everything's going to go haywire and the real estate market's going to crash and that's it. All right. And that's not really the case. All right. So the next thing I'm going to share with you guys is from Keeping Current Matters, which is a huge real estate resource. They get their data from a bunch of different companies, CoreLogic, Black Knight. There's many more out there, but essentially Keeping Current Matters is who's usually gonna have a ton of real estate data for us. All right. So next thing I'm gonna share with you guys is you can see right here, this is pretty much the last times that we've had recessions. All right. So in 2020, when we went through a recession as well, we saw a 6% increase in regards to home prices. But the recession before that was the 2008. That's when we saw a huge drop, 20% decrease in sales prices. All right. And that has a lot to do with, again, everything from mortgage to the inventory to the demand that was actually around at that time. All right. I wasn't an agent at the time, but I spoke to others that were agents at that time, and a lot of them say you couldn't even force people to buy homes if you paid them money at that time. All right. But this is right here. This shows the myth because people automatically assume that when we go into a recession, the housing market's going to crash essentially. 4 out of the last 6 recessions, we saw appreciation. All right. So that clears that up. Now, the next thing, what is inflation? All right. And it's important to know both of these factors because inflation and recession go hand in hand almost. All right. So inflation, here's a quick definition of the inflation. But inflation is pretty much when the cost of everything we're buying goes up. And this was kind of to be expected because the cause of inflation is majority of the time from, as you guys recall, the stimulus money that got pounded into the economy that devalued the money amount. I mean, this was something that could have been seen pretty much 2 years ago when they started all this, right? 2-3 years ago almost. But this is really just to get a basic understanding of what inflation is, right? 25 cents, just a cup of coffee, 25 cents to 45 cents, 75 cents, $1, 125 to 185. All right. And the reason why I say inflation and recession go hand in hand is because as inflation rises and what the feds have been doing is they're increasing the rates in hopes of hedging inflation, essentially. All right. And once it peaks, we'll probably start seeing the interest rates start dropping. All right. And that's going to factor exactly how everything else is going to go in regards to inflation and the cost of everything. All right. But that's essentially what inflation is as well. All right. And normally when we have inflation, you're actually going to see asset classes like the real estate market increase in value. Right. That's the really neat thing about owning real estate. All right. And us homeowners, landlords, we've definitely seen that since everything's been going on for the last 2-3 years. Okay. So now, to understand the basics even more, what is a buyer's market and what is a seller's market? All right. And I think it's super important to know this as well, because to me, the market is just balancing. It's normalizing before the COVID time period. I don't want to say the word because I know YouTube is going to catch something with that. So C-19, essentially, before the market, for the last 2 years, people are all about doom and gloom, right? So for the last 2-3 years, the real estate market has been absolutely insane, on fire. And now that it's just normalizing, everyone's assuming it's doom, the end of the world. That's not the case. It's just normalizing. All right. So I'm going to share my screen again on what a buyer's market is and exactly what a seller's market is. All right. So we can understand the basics. So a buyer's market is essentially when we have inventory and, amongst MSIs have been saying monthly supply of inventory for 7+ months.
All right. So this is today. We're about this is nationwide as well, guys. All right. I'm going to go over the Hampton Roads data here shortly, but this is all nationwide. I want you guys to understand the importance of the macro level versus the micro level, because what's happening in California is, I'm just throwing a state out there. What's happening in California real estate market is not going to be the same as what's happening here in Hampton Roads. So it's super important to know, because the news outlets, everyone else, they like to generalize everything, doom and gloom, and then drives everybody nuts. All right. So this is today's market, 3.5 months. Anything, and a seller's market is anything under 6 months. A neutral market, 6 to 7 months. All right. So this is what is the actual definition of buyer's market, seller's market. So today we're at 3.1 months essentially of inventory nationwide. Hampton Roads is even lower than that. All right. So this is what you're seeing. And if you look at the last time when there were market crashes, right, it was buyer's market majority because the demand wasn't there. So that's something that plays into a factor. It's the inventory and as well the demand. And even though we have seen an increase in inventory, it's still nowhere as high as how it used to be. So that's just something to factor in, because that's why prices are still increasing. So this, people that are comparing, there's two different time frames. All right. But that's essentially the definition. Now, when you look at it and you see it, you're like, oh, okay. Then it's not too bad, because Hampton Roads, as we're going to go over here shortly, is 1.35 MSI. So you tell me if about how the market is essentially crashing over here already. We're not even close to being neutral. So that's just something for you guys to understand there. And I hope that makes sense. So buyer's market, anything over that 7 months period is going to take your home 7+ months to get the home sold. That's why there's listing contracts that's for a year and sometimes 2 years, right? Because that's how it is with real estate. And then neutral market, 6 to 7 months period. Seller's market, anything under 6 months. So we are way under that at the moment. All right. And the inventory is way under that as well. And the demand is still there. And especially if the rates, because the rates have somewhat peaked, and if they get the inflation under control, you're going to see rates start going down again as well. So, and if that does happen, then you're going to have transactions go right back up. And as of right now, sales prices are still up, and which we're going to go over. All right. So that is the definition of the buyers and sellers market. All right. Hope that clears that up. And now let's look into the housing market forecast. All right. And why it won't crash based off of the data. All right. So this is again data from KCM. And if you're a client of mine, you have access to this. If you don't see this, just let me know and I'll get you hooked up. But so if you look at this, saying, obviously the intensity of the past 2 years is what's really made people think it's all doom now, but it's just normalizing. So the experts and data are actually forecasting, because this is the crazy part, because we've got buyers right now that are sitting on the sidelines, and this has a lot to do with why transactions have went down a lot, because they're sitting on the sideline thinking that there's going to be a crash. Realistically, that's not what the data is showing. So if you're a buyer out there, just super important, your data. And the same thing with sellers that are waiting it out because they're thinking about the same thing, right? So home prices are projected on average 10% increase this year, 10.3%. All right. And this is across all data sources: Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, NAR, Zelman, CoreLogic, right? So all of that. And as I was saying before too, once inflation's contained, you're going to see more than likely the mortgage rates decline as well. And then it's going to cause another run with transactions and sales prices going insane again. All right. But as of right now, if you compare, the app, pretty much this is, like I was saying before, it's just going to be more in line of what it was like before C19, if anything. All right. Because this is the average for 2017 to 2019 in regards to the forecast, the home sales forecast, and what it actually ended up being. All right. So it's just going to be more than likely in that range, if anything. Now, let's go through a couple of, a couple of opinions from other experts through KCM on why the housing market won't crash. It's not just me. Other agents that are in it and other experts. This is all data that we're working off of. Don't go nuts off of what the news is saying and all that, because they're not diving that much into it. They're just trying to, again, negativity bias. All right. So the 2008 market crash is just pretty much different in many ways in comparison to what's happening right now. So as of right now, there is no oversupply of homes for sale at all. All right. Like, it's nowhere near it. You guys just saw the graph before. It pretty much was a huge drop. And that has a lot to play into factors. Supply and demand has a lot to do with crashes. All right. We're still suffering from a housing shortage. So like they're pretty much saying here, by the time many millennials reach their age, start consider home ownership, they're gonna have a tough time as well. The lending standards are much tighter today than in comparison to the last crashes. Last crashes, people were able to get mortgages for $1 million houses with $30,000 salary. Like, it was just insane. All right. If you were around that time, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So today it's super hard to get a loan out there, especially with what's going on at the moment. All right, rates going up, again, stricter and stricter as inflation, recession, all that stuff, right? And on top of it, the equity that homeowners have at the moment provides security. So back then, you were underwater because, let's say you bought a house for $300-something thousand, and then you couldn't afford the mortgage, you had to sell, and the home was realistically only worth $240, $250. Then you were kind of screwed. You were underwater. You had to come out of pocket to even sell if you could. Right now, it's the opposite. Like I said, the values are still increasing. So people have, and we just saw the forecast, about 10.8% increase, right? Something like that. So people have equity to give them security, knowing that they're not going to lose the house. All right. So that's a big difference as well. So these are the reasons why experts are saying the housing market won't crash. Again, this is all macro data, even with, inventory starting to increase in some other areas, which we've somewhat seen at peak, actually. So, which we're going to go over too. But this is why experts are saying housing market won't crash. All right. So now we're going to go over the micro data, the data here in Hampton Roads. And towards the end, what I'll do is I'll give you guys a quick glimpse of each city, what we're looking like in regards to sales and inventory as well. So you can kind of get a really good grasp of what's going on in the market and know that what the experts are saying and what the data is suggesting is that there's not really a crash in sight. All right. So let's take a look at this. So first we've got, this is the data from July 2022, and it compares pretty much year over year and as well some month to month. But if you take a look at our active listings, even with the inventory starting to increase, and as I was saying before, it's actually peaked from the looks of it. But let's see what happens. It could keep going up, but based off of data, it possibly peaked. But we're still seeing 10%, close to almost 11% less than what was in comparison to last year. All right, so 2022, July 2022, we've got about 4,129 active listings. Back in 2021, July, 4,621. All right, and what you see as well in 2020, right, there was about 5,576, and then 9,052 in 2019, and then 10,000 in 2018. All right, as I was saying earlier, what's happening is more of the market normalizing to how it was before C19, if anything. All right. And as of right now, our month supply of inventory is at the highest it's ever been at 1.37. All right. Remember the data I showed before, what's considered a seller's market is anything under 6 months, a neutral market, 6 to 7 month period. And then you got a buyer's market, which is pretty much 7 months and above of inventory. All right. So we're at 1.37. That's the highest since September 2021, which was at 1.39. And the MSI is down slightly from 1.47 which was in July 2021. All right, so that gives you a good gauge of inventory as well. As I was saying, that's why it shows it possibly might have peaked. Who knows? We'll come to find out soon. Right now, one of the things that we're running into as well that is when people had bought their houses, because most people on average live at their house for about 3 years. All right, that's what the nationwide stats is essentially. And when people bought the houses during C19 or before, you've had rates that were under pretty much 3%. I've seen some of 1.5%, things like that, right? So it's super cheap to borrow. And what's happening is we're running into sellers that had essentially have that low mortgage rate, and they don't like the idea of moving up to where it's currently at the 5.5 to 6.5. Right, in order to trade up or trade down, whatever the case is. And that has a lot to do with the transactions amount decreasing more than likely as well with people just sitting on the sideline waiting for it to change. If you are thinking about trading up or trading down, one of the options that most people overlook is being able to buy down the rates. All right. You have to work with what the market's given you. And if the market's high in price, you're going to be able to profit a little more. So why not buy down the rate? So this way you can make the move that you truly like, because as we just saw before, it's going to keep appreciating. So the longer that you technically wait, yes, you pay, you could possibly pay more in interest rate, but you could buy it down as well to be able to get you the house that you want overall. All right. And what we're seeing, the pending sales, as I mentioned, is definitely down. All right. And that has a lot to do with some of the factors I just talked about, people waiting on the sideline, the mortgage rates, inventory options, right? Things like that. But pending sales was only 2,777, which is down 19.3% year over year. And in comparison to last month, it's down 9.66. All right, from June to July, you're down pretty much in pending transactions as well. So one other factor I forgot to mention in there, what's also starting to happen is people, this has been happening for a little while, but sellers are still stuck on the asking and list price of 6-12 months ago when the market was absolutely insane. They're listing properties at that price right now, but a lot of them are coming to realization that it's no longer the same market, and they're actually having to start doing price reductions, which we're starting to see. And that's also another reason more than likely why pending sales are down. People listing at the price from 6-12 months ago and realizing they have to come down. And you will see asking prices, list prices go down, but sales prices still going up. All right. The median sales price for, the settled sales during the month was the closings 2,909. That's down as well, 23.4% year over year, and down 12.38 month over month. All right, that correlates with exactly what I was talking about before. And next, the median sales price of homes for the month was $322,500. Last year was $300,000. All right, so that's a huge, nice jump up in regards to sales price increasing. It's just slightly down, from month over month. The month before was $325,750. All right. The MSI, as I mentioned before, we're at 1.37 now, and we went over that before. And the median days on market for listings was 12 days. That's a slight increase from the 9 days that we had in June, which was pretty much about 33% increase, which is still, again, really good signs of a seller's market. You just have to price a property right now. That's the most important thing I can tell you. I try to advise my sellers as best as possible, but some people want to give it a shot at the higher prices. But you've got to listen to the experts that are out there and just know if you want to get your home sold, it's definitely still a good time right now. You just need to price it accordingly. All right. Residential new construction sold in the MLS was totaling 237. That's 92 less homes, 28% drop from 329 in July 2021. That's another indicator again of don't know where this crash is going to be coming from. But that's what the data were looking like. All right. Median sales price increase 7.5%. But now I want to show you guys this, because another narrative that we have in the real estate industry is, the foreclosures, the forbearances, all that is gonna be coming to a stop, and you're gonna have a bunch of foreclosures come on the market. All right, that's what people are saying in regards to that aspect, and there's not much data showing that either. All right. So I'm gonna, I do have data for the micro level, the macro level, which I'll just show real quick as well. I'll show you the micro level. So this is one of the biggest data provider from Black Knight. All right. And if you look right here, number of properties that are 30 or more days past due and or in foreclosure. We're down 618,000 in regards to foreclosure aspect. All right. So the market could absolutely get flooded if that's, with the forbearance talk that they're talking about, it could get flooded and you still would be behind. Like it would just, again, all I'm saying that the data is pointing to is it's just going to normalize back to how it was before C19, if anything. All right. So this is the macro data nationwide. Now let's take a look at the micro data over here in Hampton Roads. So now if you look at this data, right, this is pretty much the foreclosures, the foreclosure over here, here in Hampton Roads, and you're looking at from February 2021 to July 2022. Where was distress and total residential unit. So we're for the REO actives, right? 105. That's pretty much that's our micro market. All right. So that's why I say it's super important to get your actual data locally, not the macro level. But if you look at 105 active REO listings, all right, back in February 2021, where we're at right now, 69. So it can literally double, and we would just be before how it was. Yeah, well, actually, that was during C19 as well. It could literally double, and we just back to normal. That's all it is. All right. Now, let's look at York County. We're going to look at data from February 2021 to what we're currently looking at now. So from, sold, median list price to median sales price and average days on market. All right. And I'm just going to have you guys glance over this quickly. So depending on which county you're in, which city you're in, you can kind of get a good idea of, what your data would look like. All right. So this is for York County from February 2021 to right now. You see. All right, this is the legends down here. Days on market, still super low in comparison to February 2021. It's the sales price. It's pretty much this right here. As you see, it's went up. List price is York County came down a little bit, but sales price is still up. All right. Now let's move on to the next one. We're going to look at Newport News next. All right. Newport News, same February 2021 to right now. Days on market still low. Sales price is still up. List price comparison to last year is still up. All right. Now let's look at Hampton. Same exact thing. What we're looking at here from February 2021 to 2022 right now. Sales price is still up. List price is still up. For solds. It's Hampton. Now let's go into Suffolk. Here's Suffolk data. So Suffolk is probably one of those where, as you can see, sales prices went down a little bit actually, and list prices went down as well, right? So this is Suffolk, but again, this points to just normalizing. That's all. Check out Norfolk. Here's Norfolk. February 2021 to right now. Same thing. Just starting to normalize. I mean, this is still going up, quite honestly, so sales price is still going up in Norfolk. All right, now let's look at Virginia Beach. Oh, this is all data from our local MLS. Virginia Beach, days on market 18 days, still really low. And Virginia Beach market still going up for the most part. Don't see a crash there. Let's look at Portsmouth. So same thing. Majority of these, as you saw, is on a upward trend. The only thing that's went down a little bit was the Suffolk area. But like I said, it's just normalizing. It's still above what it was prior. The last one, we'll go with Chesapeake. And if you take a look at Chesapeake, similar thing across the board, really. All right.
So as you just saw, the data points nowhere in regards to a market crash over here in Hampton Roads and possibly even nationwide, right? But as I was mentioning to you earlier, negativity bias is huge in this industry, almost everywhere realistically, whatever industry you're in, because that captures your attention. So just tune off this, the news outlet and social media and whatnot, chat with your local experts, your realtors, and if you happen to be in the Hampton Roads area and you're thinking about buying or selling, I'd love to connect, love to chat, completely free, no obligation whatsoever, and let's see if it makes sense at all for you to even consider, possibly working with us, but most importantly, for you to even consider making a move, all right? So reach out at the contact information below. And as well, if you found valuable information from this content, please like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and feel free to share it as well, because it lets YouTube know that I'm doing a good job and it helps me spread my message across, which I do for absolutely free. All right, totally appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope everyone has a good one.